Hi, it's Dr. David Stoker, board certified plastic surgeon in Los Angeles. Today I wanted to talk in a little bit more detail about a case on a 59-year-old beautiful woman who underwent facial rejuvenation, where I used my Traceless deep plane face and neck lift technique, fractional carbon dioxide laser, and a rhinoplasty to achieve some gorgeous, harmonious, and dramatic enhancements for her. Let's check out the details together. I was really excited when this patient came into my office because she is beautiful. She had a lot of nice facial features and materials for me to work with. But like most of us, as you get older and the decades go by, you get sun damage, or what we call actinic damage from ultraviolet light. Hormones change, in women especially, but in guys also. There's just genetics as a significant component to that, and just simple time going by. In this case, what I did for her was the fundamental procedure of our Traceless deep plane face and neck lift. It's quite a mouthful, but it's also really key. The second thing that we did is fractional carbon dioxide laser resurfacing. I find that helps me to achieve a lot of things I'm unable to do with a Traceless face and neck lift technique alone. And lastly, and specific to this particular patient, we performed a rhinoplasty. That's something that we often do on younger people because they have prominent noses. But what a lot of us don't realize is that as we age, our noses grow. And in this case, her nose was growing and drooping. It no longer looked young and perky. And she wanted to restore it to its former glory of how it appeared when she was in her early 20s. When I perform a Traceless deep plane face and neck lift, the key thing we're trying to do is to lift into a more youthful position the skin and underlying muscles and soft tissues of both the neck and the face, both vertically and slightly posteriorly. And the key to the deep plane lift is that we're not just dealing with the skin. We are not just dealing with the skin and the SMAS, or the muscle layer. Instead, we're getting even deeper than that in our dissections on the face, releasing the retaining ligaments that hold back these tissues from being mobilized to a more youthful position, and elevating everything as a composite lift on both the neck and the face. What does that do? Well, instead of just pulling hard on the skin and giving more of a windblown appearance, lifting those deep plane tissues restores the fullness and youthfulness of the subcutaneous layers, or the fatty layers, the muscle layers, as well as all the vessels and nerves and everything that goes along with that. And it moves it into the more youthful position that was in a person's 20s and 30s. It also, because we're able to close those deeper layers under a lot of tension, it takes tension off of the skin closure. So instead of having to pull super hard on that skin and creating an artificial appearance, the edges of the skin will almost be kissing at the end, so that as they heal, they flatten and heal with a fine line instead of pulling apart and creating a thicker, wider, more noticeable scar. That is the key procedure for this patient and many patients in their 50s and 60s or older. The second thing that we did is fractional carbon dioxide laser resurfacing. That's where we basically use a laser beam to sand away the outer layers of the skin, but instead of removing everything, the fancy lasers that are fractional drill down with about 100 different micro lasers in there, so that there are little pinholes of laser going through the skin immediately adjacent to untreated skin. It isn't quite as effective as a fully ablational laser. However, there's a much lower complication rate and much faster healing, both of which are highly desirable for me and for my patients. So that's what we do a lot of here. The fractional CO2 laser in particular is attracted to water in the tissues, and it's most effective at tightening the skin and getting rid of sunspots. Those are things that this patient can really benefit from. An added benefit is that it improves the texture of the skin. I think it's really magnificent in her. I'd like to zero in. If you can zoom in on the chin, look at the difference in the texture before and after of her chin. Look at the difference before and after the skin on her brow. It's much more youthful looking, not even including all of the lifting that we did with the deep plane techniques. Also, if you could zero in on the lower eyelids in particular, you're going to see a lot of crepiness before surgery, and afterwards, no crepiness or wrinkles at all. It's 100% gone. And that's just resurfacing with a laser. There was an actual eyelid surgery done in this case. Lastly, what we did on this 59-year-old woman was a rhinoplasty. The rhinoplasty was designed to shrink up her nose, to lift it into a more perky position so it wasn't drooping, and to make her tip less bulbous. That really came together to kind of fit her more youthful appearance. And if we look back at pictures of her 30 years earlier, it's pretty close to actually how she appeared in real life. So all of those 3 procedures were important in achieving this beautiful result. Now let's talk about the jowls. Jowls are one of the most common reasons why patients seek facial rejuvenation. And in this case, the patient got a really dramatic enhancement of her jowls, total elimination of them in fact, but it required 2 different procedures to do that. So the first is my Traceless deep plane face and neck lift. That's really key because we're mobilizing the deep tissues to take the heaviness of those jowls and put it back where it was 30 years earlier. The second thing that we're doing is tightening the skin more superficially. Remember, the deep plane facelift puts a lot of tension on the deep tissues, and especially as you get closer and closer to the midline, that skin is not able to be pulled so tight. We lose power because we're pulling far away back here by the ear. So the fractional carbon dioxide laser is very helpful in that way in directly attacking this and having a synergistic impact by tightening the skin in more superficial tissues to complement the mobilized deeper tissues that were moved back into a more youthful position with the deep plane face and neck lift. This is Dr. David Stoker, board-certified plastic surgeon in Los Angeles. If you're interested in facial rejuvenation and rhinoplasty surgery, you've got to check out our website, drstoker.com. We've got over 10,000 beautiful before and after pictures on there for you to review. Also check us out on our social media. We're active on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And on our YouTube channel, we have over 1,100 videos so far. Make sure you send us your contact information with your email or your cell phone, or simply email us directly at info@drstoker.com. This is Dr. David Stoker, board-certified plastic surgeon in Los Angeles.